Welcome back to the Blue Ball Report. I'm your host, Digger, and we're continuing this mini-series about confidence. I'll leave a link to the playlist that includes all the episodes so you can check that out. But for now, I'm going to dive into some really cool principles that will help build your confidence. The mission of the Blue Ball Report is to empower your Eros to make love transcendent. Want more love in your life? Hit the subscribe button for weekly episodes. Today's first principle is be aware of your assumptions. You may have heard this lesson as do not make assumptions, but the fact is we navigate our world through assumptions. They keep us safe. So instead I say stay aware of your assumptions and keep asking questions. Keep an open mind and stay curious. This takes mental work, which is why most people don't bother. You see, we often default to assume our interpretation is correct, an accurate assessment of the way things objectively are, or how someone or something is. When I chat up a cutie who keeps looking elsewhere but me, checking his time, sure, I could assume he has no interest in me. With this assumption, I'm probably going to avoid this person in the future to avoid that same humiliation. But instead, I could consider this second principle today of confidence, which is context. Maybe in that moment, he's actually just having a bad day. Or on another day, when his mood is lifted, he might be more receptive. Maybe he's nervous about a meeting or someone he's waiting for. With any of these possibilities, I feel better about what could have seemed like a rebuff. And next time I bump into this dude, I can be friendly. And I will tell you, there have been numerous occasions where I did this, and lo and behold, they eventually came around. Sometimes to being friends, and other times to being romantic. And you may think, yeah, but what if they genuinely did hate you? Wouldn't I look like a fool to come back for more rejection? To which I would reply, so what? It's never bad to foster a reputation as being consistently friendly. I'm not going to cave to baseless assumptions. Let me give you a really good example, and this is a true story. I was once in a sauna alone when this really cute dude came in and sat down. I smiled and said hello, and he literally rolled his eyes at me and turned away. It was clear this conversation was over before it began, so I left him alone. Now, I could have assumed he snubbed me, or I wasn't good enough for him, or he didn't like me, that he hated me, maybe he wanted to murder me. Any of these assumptions, and I'd probably avoid him in the future. But I resisted all of those assumptions. And then later on, when a friend introduced me to him, a few days later outside the sauna, I stayed warm and friendly because why not? And then to my surprise, eventually he warmed up to me and we actually became boyfriends. When I asked him about our first meeting in the sauna, much later, he said he just arrived and he was just annoyed in general. So this takes me back to that second principle, which is consider the context. His behavior was responding to the whole situation, not necessarily to me specifically, or some story I concocted in my head. As another example, there's this acquaintance in my community whom I'd seen many times for several years who never spoke to me, which led me to assume this person was kind of snobby. But I stayed friendly, and then a few years later I discovered that his cold behavior was due to his shyness, and he's actually quite a lovely guy. When we became friendly, I told him about my inaccurate assumptions, and he said, yeah, a lot of people assume I'm a bitch when I'm really just shy. And that relates to today's third principle of confidence, which is be aware of the common assumptions people make about you. And here's the power for you. If you know of some common inaccurate assumptions of your personality, like my friend did, consider how you can proactively neutralize those false assumptions. I told this friend, I said, maybe you should tell people that you're shy before they make that common misinterpretation. You can do the same. You can say, sorry, I'm cranky today, or sorry, I'm worried about my dog. By knowing the context for your behavior, then you don't leave it to them to take your behavior personally, nor to attribute your behavior to a character flaw. And the fourth principle I want to talk about with confidence today is to choose the best story. Research shows that we all have a tendency to make negative assumptions. But you have a choice. You can choose a different story, one that suits your happiness best. Let me explain the fundamental attribution error. Psychological research shows that we tend to attribute the misbehavior of others to a character flaw, a personality defect. They're evil. But we blame our own misbehavior not on a character flaw, but it's something to do with the conditions of the situation at hand. For example, if someone cuts me off on the highway, I'm likely to call them an inconsiderate maniac, a character flaw, a personality defect. However, if I cut someone off, I'm quick to explain, oh yeah, I was just distracted by the naked dude on the overpass, a condition. And this is powerful to understand. Okay, first of all, getting cut off threatens your safety, so it's normal to become heightened with stress. If I give this person the benefit of the doubt and consider another possibility, maybe they're in a rush to meet their wife in labor at the hospital and they're distracted. Maybe there's a screaming baby in their car stealing their attention and they made an oopsie. If I choose a story like this, I can be understanding and let go of that anger. I can be forgiving and calm, and that calmness serves my nervous system. And I don't do this for them, I do it for myself. The moral of the story is this: unless necessary or obviously otherwise, I recommend you assume the story that makes you feel the best about it in service of your happiness and offering others the benefit of the doubt. On the other side, understand that people are going to take your behavior personally. So if you find yourself grumpy and short with someone in a conversation, it helps to proactively apologize so that they understand the condition. Sorry, excuse my curtness, I'm cranky from only getting 2 hours of sleep last night. Otherwise, you're letting people assume that you're a jerk. If you flirt with someone and you're rebuffed, my advice is to choose the best story that suits your feelings and confidence. And be kind to them again, because sometimes they come around. And it never hurts to garner a reputation as a friendly person. The 5th lesson today about conflicts is to reclaim your power. In high school, I was picked on for being a skinny fag, and I really hated being called a fag. Then I graduated, grew up, realized, yeah, you're right, actually, I am a fag. Damn it, those jokes were right. I came out and I found happiness. Then 20 years later, I went back to the high school reunion, and when I heard someone make a derogatory comment about me being gay, it had no effect on me. Why? Calling me a fag is about as insulting as calling a man or a woman. Well, I'm glad you have a firm grasp on the obvious. I realized that I was hurt by their insults because I gave them that power. When I stopped giving them that power, the words they used to try to hurt me were harmless. And what if they did make fun of me for being skinny again? Why should I care what they think? They haven't earned the privilege of me caring about their opinion. I save that for trusted friends. Some of these principles are well written about in this easy-to-read book I recommend called The 4 Agreements. I'll leave a link to it below. To recap the lessons about confidence, number 1, beware your assumptions, aka don't make assumptions. 2, consider context, the situation. 3, beware what assumptions others make of you and try to mitigate that. 4, assume the best whenever possible without lying to yourself. 5, reclaim your power. For more content about cultivating confidence, click this playlist right here. That's all for now. I'll see you next week.